What's going on with Bitcoin? Why is it a little bit down today? But also, let's talk about this building demand that's happening right now before its next parabolic move. Bitcoin is no longer correlated to US stocks, crypto, according to sources. You know, this is good, but I argue this is short term. You see this happen a lot. You see Bitcoin kind of decouple away from S&P and NASDAQ, and then sometimes you see it correlate, right? And right now, I think this is happening because of a couple things. This is actually looking at ETH versus a lot of these other indexes. So you look at like gold, DXY, S&P, and then you have ETH. And you can see ETH is slowly climbing, but kind of not correlated with these other indexes. And that's because, you know what? ETH is correlated to Bitcoin. I don't know why they're using ETH and not Bitcoin, but if you show Bitcoin, it's probably just a continue upwards trend. Bitcoin is just a different animal. It's a different beast, right? And of course, it went through some FUD, and now there's optimism, but ultimately, okay, why Bitcoin is going to continue to decouple because it's getting bigger, okay? The volume is climbing, fundamentals are getting better, but ultimately because we're really just mimicking previous cycles. This is where we are. It's a little bit hard to see, but the black line is where we are, the current cycle, and then you overlap that on top of some of these previous cycles, okay, like the 2017 cycle and the 2013 cycle. And you can see more or less we have done the same thing. A little bit different, but this is right at the point when in 2017 and 2013, when Bitcoin started its upward trend, right around the same time. Right? So this may be a big reason why Bitcoin has decoupled away from markets, because we are finally at that point where it is about to run, when it's going to start going into that parabolic phase, right? So there's many reasons why Bitcoin and crypto overall has decoupled away from traditional markets. Because you have the halving event, you have the growing fundamentals, you have the ETF optimism, you have the institutions. There's so many reasons. Bitcoin is down slightly, okay, still holding above 30,000, but yes, down from our recent 31,000. But why is this happening? Well, unfortunately, it may seem like Powell has something to do with it, or at least traders are just antsy about what Powell and his buddies said last FOMC meeting. I mean, at this point in time, these FOMC meetings don't really bring any more information. So I don't know if this is just a coincidence or it's an excuse. That's why we have Bitcoin, okay? And that's why so many people are turning to Bitcoin because of these reasons, because they want to opt out. And good thing is there's more excitement these days. Crypto trading volume is rising for the first time in 3 months. So since Q1, we really didn't have a whole lot of spot volume. Okay, now it's coming back because of ETF, all the optimism over ETF and BlackRock and everything else. Keep in mind, we're coming off a period when it was scary once again. Coinbase sued, Binance sued, a lot of these exchanges were sued, Kraken was also sued, KuCoin was sued, all these exchanges were sued. So we're coming off a very scary, probably couple months, and then that kind of all went away because of ETF optimism, and I think this is going to happen this year. We will get some spot Bitcoin ETFs. Okay, but we're still early. Even though volume is rising for the first time in 3 months, if you compare our volume versus even 2022, we're so far off. Spot volume is off. Derivative volume is off. CME futures is off. Nowhere close to previous highs. But the good news is, despite that, Bitcoin is still above $30,000. Okay? So we definitely made moves so far this year. We're recovering. We have entered a new cycle already. We're just not there yet. The parabolic stage that most of you guys are looking for. But in the meantime, you have a ton of accumulation. In fact, if you look at how much is being hodled right now, 14.5 million Bitcoins out of 19.5. There's only 5 million floating around out there. And I argue it's even less than that because there's only about 2 million on the exchanges. So 3 million, 4 million is probably gone forever. So really, I mean, it's super, super scarce. And over the last 602 days, there has been 1 million Bitcoin accumulated. 1 million. And guess who started accumulating? MicroStrategy and Tesla and others. Okay, so you have institutions coming in, slowly grabbing all the Bitcoins behind the scenes while we're going through these cycles, right? And we don't want that to happen. We don't want all these big guys to take up all of our Bitcoin. It's really scarce. It's really scarce. But you know what? If you look at people that have been in the space, of course, they're still taking advantage. You look at absorption rate of shrimp, crab, and fish. They're all starting to go up. It's not as high as before, not as high as when Bitcoin had some nasty falls, like around the 15,000 range. A lot of people took advantage. It is starting to climb once again. So it does show that, yeah, there are a lot of you guys that are still, right, not panicking, focused on the future, DCAing. That's the right way to go. Extremely exciting. What else is there? Well, Mustache has this drawn out. Kind of similar to that 2020 COVID crash, although the scenarios are different from that point and right now, but it does look pretty similar. But ultimately, Bitcoin is on the right path. Do not be swayed off the path. Do not be discouraged. I don't think anyone was really discouraged at 30,000 Bitcoin right now, okay, to be honest. But maybe some of you guys are iffy. There's always people in the chat that say, oh, Bitcoin is dumping when it's really not. And it's one of those things where, hey, sometimes Bitcoin just takes a break. Sometimes crypto takes a break. Okay? It's not going to go up forever. Sometimes it retraces a little bit. It's overbought in the shorter time frames. It's okay to come down, okay? But long term, this is what's happening, okay? Everything's going according to plan.